hello, 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 welcome, 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 welcome to another video, video. Today we are going to be doing a little book haul and book slash DVD haul, book slash DVD haul, book slash digital video disc haul, because I have recently purchased quite a few of those two genre of item. So let's start with let's alternate. So we're gonna go book DVD, okay? Starting off. So yesterday I got these three pieces of work over here because I wasn't planning on buying any books actually, but I went out to a little like shopping center-ish place that's pretty close to where I live, and to buy things because I wanted to make falafel in this upcoming week. So I bought ingredients for that, but then there's also a bookshop in that little center, so I couldn't resist. And these books were at just such a good price that I couldn't resist picking them up. So, sort of giving into my addiction to buying as many old books as possible, while reading them very slowly, or not reading them fast enough to warrant buying them at such a fast pace. But anyways, I love Virginia Woolf. I haven't really heard much about Mrs. Dalloway specifically, but I love Virginia Woolf so much. The first book of hers that I got is that I read was Something Fell. This To the Lighthouse. I got this when I was in university. I think it was like on sale. There was like a clearance sale at the university bookshop, and this looked interesting. I had heard the name Virginia Woolf, so I thought I'd pick it up, and I'm so glad I did. This is one of my favorite. It has become one of my favorite novels, and it just made me fall in love with Virginia Woolf's writing. I also have Flush, which is a short novella, one might say, which is about, it's from the, well, yeah, it's sort of about the dog of some noble woman, but I don't have that yet. I have that's sort of my balcony book. So it's on a balcony, and whenever I'm on there and just chilling, I have something to read, and it is Flush by Virginia Woolf. But Mrs. Dalloway, another Virginia Woolf novel that I'm very, very excited to read, because I've enjoyed everything of hers so much. I think we also did, in my English course in university, one of the essays we covered was Virginia Woolf essay. I can't remember the title, but I remember that. Very, very, very excited. Also, I love nice, clean cover. I really dislike gaudy covers. I like it to be just plain and simple. Even this is maybe a bit much, but I mean, like, it's just a simple D. Maybe those images will mean something once I start reading the book. But yeah, very, very excited to read Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Let's get a DVD next. So for the DVDs, I really dislike the sounds of tapping, because the DVD inside makes an ugly, and I won't do it too loud because I don't like the sound myself. So I'm gonna take the DVDs out of their casing, because I haven't done that yet, and I'm gonna put them in my little binder over here. This used to hold my PS2 games when I was a lad, but I've since, so this has a lot of history. The zip is broken, but that's okay. So now I put all my DVDs in here. So first off, we have one of my favorite comedic films, a very, I would say, important in my growth as a film viewer. There's the disc. I will now put it in the binder. The binder is actually organized alphabetically, but I'll just put them in the back, and then I'll organize them again later, perhaps in another video. So, anyways, Dr. Strangelove. This is a Stanley Kubrick film from 1963, and I really like it. It's very funny. It's sort of about sort of the Cold War paranoia, sort of a satire on that subject. Peter Sellers plays many parts and is very entertaining. He does play the titular Dr. Strangelove along with the President and a few other, I think, and one other character. And George C. Scott, I think his character's name is General Ripper, if I remember correctly. No, that's, no. No, George C. Scott is one of the other guys, never mind. General Ripper is Sterling Hayden. But, yeah, this is a very funny movie. It's also sort of different from, like, what you would think in a Stanley Kubrick film. Especially, like, his later things, like, compared to, like, The Shining, Barry Lyndon, Clockwork Orange. I guess a Clockwork Orange is sort of satirical in a way, but yeah, it's quite different to many of his other films, and I enjoy it very much. And also I watched it when I was in high school, and it was one of the first, like, decidedly older movies that I watched. Because I think before that I watched, like, Social Network and, like, Edgar Wright stuff, which is of course all, at least from the 21st century. Also, this is black and white, and it might have been maybe not the first, but I don't know. But yeah, it's very funny, very cool. One of my favorite comedies. Moving on. Going back to books, we have something that I've wanted to read for a very long time. Dracula, of course, by Bram Stoker, in the Collins Classics series, which I have quite a few books, because I love old literature. So, and Collins Classics is like one of the cheapest like collections of, like, classic works, although sometimes the covers can be kind of shitty. So the Frankenstein that I have, if I could find it, another book fell. This Frankenstein is actually also a Collins classic, but because the cover is, I really don't like it, because I think this is meant to depict the monster, and if so, this is way too pretty to be the monster. And yeah, I just don't really like sort of over illustration on a book cover. I like it to be as plain as possible, maybe a few evocative colors and things, but I don't like this kind of thing, so I covered it up. But or, like, another example is, like, Franz Kafka collections that have how am I forgetting the name of this? That's like his most famous work, dude. You know what? Never mind that thought. Let's just go back to Dracula. So, one thing that I don't think I've mentioned yet on my channel here is that I love vampire shit. I love, in every genre, film, music, I guess, and video games. Like, I love the idea of a vampire, and that mythology and all the themes that sort of go along with it are so interesting to me. And in terms of films, some of my like, in every genre, at least in my top 20, like, a vampire thing is gonna be one of them. So, like, Interview with a Vampire, The Lost Boys. It's just, the imagery is also very cool, because they tend to be, like, very brooding, figures. They're only up at night time, it's very dark and gloomy, and I love that stuff. And oftentimes the themes, they sort of deal with eternal youth and, being, and loneliness, since if you're, living forever, you're gonna end up being sort of lonely. And yeah, I love the exploration of those themes, and I think such a rich topic, the idea of the vampire. So yeah, as I was saying, the movies that I love: Interview with a Vampire, The Lost Boys, Nosferatu, of course, which is a sort of bootleg adaptation of this very book, and then obviously Dracula, the Universal Pictures film starring Bela Lugosi. Although, I mean, I don't know, I sort of Nosferatu holds a special place in my heart because it's just very weird. And it's like, I think the first silent film that I really liked, that it sort of got me into the world of silent films, because I was a bit hesitant to get into it. I think like if you're like a modern film watcher, a black and white silent film can seem like kind of strange, but it was really enjoyable. Anyways, back to Dracula. Yeah, I have not read. Oh yes, and in video games, the video game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is so good. Like the gameplay is not that great, but the story and like the role-playing elements are so great, and it's so well written. So I really highly recommend it if you're into RPGs. But anyways, also the world. Anyways, yeah, I've always wanted to get into vampire literature, which I haven't. Obviously, Dracula being the most like classic one that you have to read, and then I would like to obviously read the book Interview with the Vampire that the film is based on. And actually, as I was, I think in the introduction to this book, I was reading a bit, and so there's a vampire by, because this isn't really the first, I mean, this is maybe the most popular vampire piece of literature, but it's not mentioned here. I think it was on the Wikipedia page or something, but anyways, there's a short story, it seems like a short story called Vampire with a Y, so Vampyre, which has been added to my reading list. And then also Carmilla, which is about a female vampire, which is, both of those came out before this novel, and I'd like to read them all. Yeah, I love Dracula. Also, I like that this is sort of in the form of I forget what the word for it is, but it's a collection of like people's diaries and like cuttings from newspaper and stuff, which is a very interesting format for a novel such as this. So multiple perspectives. Frankenstein also has a few different perspectives, and it's like people's like a few different. It's like, so Frankenstein has like letters and people's like diaries and stuff in it, but it seems like Dracula has like a lot more of that. Frankenstein is only like a few times where it switches like from one to the other, but just from looking at like the chapters, we go from we go from Jonathan Harker's journal to letters between Lucy and Minor, to Minor Murray's journal, to Dr. Seward's diary. Like it switches between them a lot, which I think is quite interesting, and I am very, very excited to read it. How long have we been going? Okay, next up, we have another digital video disc. Amélie. I don't like this image. I mean, I get that it's like a famous moment from the film, but I don't like this image as much. I way prefer this, of course. This is what I think when I think Amélie, So, I don't know, I'll keep this around, but when this is on my shelf, it's going to be just like this in the DVD case. Anyways, let's take it out, the disc, and put it. So, just a nice image from the film. The image is quite low resolution, but I mean, the thing is, because DVDs are sort of a dying breed these days, sometimes you don't get the best like quality image for like the little things, but that's okay, because it's still the film, that I own, which is cool. Anyways, let's put this in. Yeah, Amélie, very, very cute, very funny. Romance, very quirky, very cool. It is a French film, if you're unaware. And hey, I'm wearing a beret, which, sort of a French people would associate it a lot with French culture, but I don't know if it actually is as prominent as we might think it is. But anyways, yeah, very cute, very fun film. You know, a nice feel-good movie. And also like it's so fun, the color palette. Even you can see just by the images on the back, you know, very fun. Yeah. Very excited to watch this, to own this and watch it a few times. And when my friends come over, it's gonna be a film that I'm like, hey, do you want to watch Amélie? Because I feel like that's a kind of movie you could watch at any time, you know. You don't have to be like any mood. I mean, I could watch Amélie and I'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? Next up, we have the last of the books that I got at my most recent trip, Julius Caesar and Othello. This is like also a very low price for what it is. It's a nice hardcover, a deep red. As I said, I love simple covers, and this is exactly that. Of course, it's Julius Caesar and Othello from William Shakespeare. A wonderful hardcover. Also, the thing I love about this is that it's literally just the plays. It's like nothing more. I compare this, and this is 2 plays. Remember, compare this to like my Hamlet over here, which the actual play is. The actual play is only like this much, and this is just like a long introduction, and then this is like an appendix with some extra stuff. So yeah, and even this, like every page, this has like definitions and meanings and things in the text. So like as you can see, like between like 1/3 and a half of every page is just like little definitions and notes and stuff. So it makes you think that it's a lot longer than it actually is. I mean, although like the definitions and things are kind of helpful, like I can do without them. But yeah, anyways, I have Julius Caesar. It's been like at the top of my Shakespeare reading list for quite some time now. Because there's a YouTube channel called Historia Civilis, which is so good. If you're into ancient history, please look it up. It's so great. And he has a series on there about Julius Caesar. And I didn't really know a lot about him beforehand, but he's he was a bad guy without a doubt, but quite an interesting character, and especially his assassination is so like strange and like just an interesting thing that happened in history. And so obviously we have Shakespeare's fictionalized take on it in here, and so that's why I picked this up. I was actually deciding between this and I think it was like a Collins classic, but I didn't like the cover of it. It was a little, as I said, I don't like really with a lot of like visualizations or stuff on them. I like it to be quite simple. Oh yes, I forgot to mention this Dracula. I think I'm going to leave because this is a vague enough image. It's just, well, it's meant to be Dracula's castle in the distance. If it was like a picture of a vampire, I would have probably covered it up, but I like that it's just, vague, spooky. So anyways, yeah, really. So yeah, I was deciding between this and a Collins classic of just Julius Shakespeare that has like meanings and stuff and whatever, but I decided on just this because it's just so cute. It has a little bookmark thingamajig, and I've read Othello before. It was, I think, the last Shakespeare piece we did in high school English, so I didn't like need a copy of it, but I mean, it's good that I have it now, so if I ever feel like rereading it, I have a copy. But I mainly bought this for Julius Caesar, and also just the beauty of this. Something that's interesting though is, dude, look at this. It's not gonna because the focus is locked. But anyways, it says here, this publisher's note over here in the front, the second Shakespeare, and you can see I underlined it there. I couldn't, if I bring it up, it's not gonna work. The microphone just fell off the table. But as I was saying, they have a typo in here. So it says the second Shakespearean. That's a T where there should be an R. You can see I underlined it. Masterpiece Othello in this volume. So I find it quite funny. Like, what are you doing, Wilco Publishing House? Should have picked it up. But yeah, very simple. As I said before, it's just the play, no extra notes, no like textual introductions talking about, you know, what Shakespeare was eating when he thought of the line, "Good even Casca brought you Caesar home," which I feel like the first 100 pages of this Hamlet is just like, I mean, I'm sure I'll read it at some point, but it's just, I just want to get to the piece, and then after, but anyways, I'm not going to get into that rant right now. Yeah, very simply, just the play. The play is Julius Caesar and Othello. Yeah, as you can see, very simply laid out, very exciting. And also, I'd just like to say, what was I gonna, never mind. Yeah, very excited to read this. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to do these two together because I bought them together. So recently I went out with one of my friends to a little market with lots of second-hand goods, but it's like one of those tourist trap art markets where you have things that people made, and also second-hand stuff, which is where I got this. But it's a tourist trap because it's everything is so overpriced, you know, and there are lots of tourists there. And the food also is so overpriced and everything. So I actually told my friend, because it was the first time she had been there, and I was like, dude, it's fun to look at stuff, but let's not buy anything because it's super overpriced. And I ended up, she didn't buy anything. I ended up buying these two. But I mean, they were a little more expensive than other second-hand DVDs, but I just couldn't resist because as a thesis, before I talked about Ghost in the Shell and Akira, the two classic anime films. What's I gonna say? Yeah, I am not really into anime shows that much, just because I'm not very good at watching TV shows in general. I could there were maybe 2 TV shows that I've actually fully watched from beginning to end. I'm just more of a movie person. And so I love Studio Ghibli stuff, all those films. And yeah, but anyways, you hear a lot about Akira and Ghost in the Shell and how influential they are, especially in terms of, well, firstly, just their animation from the times that they were made, which is late 80s to 90s, late 80s to early 90s. Okay, Akira, 1988. Ghost in the Shell, I think was 90s. This is a weird 95. Anyways, yeah, especially when it comes to sci-fi, cyberpunk kind of stuff. These two are mentioned a lot in conversations that I've read online. So I thought, I've always wanted to watch them, so I thought, hey, I can get them on DVD, might as well. This is Ghost in the Shell 2. This has 2 discs in it. Also, we have some cool little postcards with images from the film. Very cool. I don't know what I'll do with these, but they're cool to have. So yeah, this has Ghost in the Shell 2.0, which is a sort of remaster, not remake, it's a kind of remastering kind of deal, where they updated some CGI and CGI'd some shots that weren't CGI'd. I think from what I've read online, they also changed the color grading a bit, but on disc 2 there's the original, which I want to watch first, and also lots of people said that you should watch that the original is superior, so I'll probably watch the 2.0 version at some point, but yeah, the original is on disc 2 over here. Very, very excited. Also, we have a quote from James Cameron: "A stunning work of speculative fiction." Interesting. I don't know why I didn't just say science fiction, but I guess it is. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe speculative fiction is a better word. then science fiction would be. And then back to Akira. Yeah, this is just a normal Akira DVD. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch this. Again, I've heard a lot about it. This is more sort of the cyberpunk vibe. Yeah, again, as I said, heard a lot about it, and I've wanted to watch it for a very long time. So now I have the digital video disc, an exclusive import, in fact, an exclusive import. Next up, we have, this is the other thing that I bought in the like little secondhand art marketplace. This is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. My friend actually, she said, the friend that I was with, she said that this book isn't that exciting and that she's read a part of it. But I was like, dude, I love you. To my friend, I was like, dude, I love you, I respect your opinion, but I've had this on my reading list for so long that I have to get it, like I have to read it, like nothing's gonna stop me, because it's like been in the back of my mind for so long that I want to read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, that even though I do respect her opinion on books, I just needed to read it for myself, and so I bought it. This cover, I mean, this was, as you can see, this is the Huxley Centenary, 1984 to 1994. 1894 to 1994, sorry. So this is obviously a very 90s cover, but I kind of like it just because, you know, I think the aesthetic of like the mid 90s is just very, it sort of appeals to the like kitschy part of me, you know. It's very, I mean, obviously I would prefer like a simplistic cover, but I mean, I don't know, the like 90s kitschy effect sort of these weird heads really sort of appeals to me, so I forgive it. Yeah, so I remember I started reading Chrome Yellow by Aldous Huxley. Also, I love Aldous Huxley's name. It's so good. Aldous Huxley. It's so cool. Any name with an X in it is like, also Aldous is quite unique, and more, at least in these days. Anyways, I don't know how unique it was back in his time, but what was I saying? Yeah, I had Chrome Yellow. I got a copy of Chrome Yellow off of Project Gutenberg, where you can find, if you don't know about it, you can find lots of books and other pieces of literature that are in the public domain on there for free. So go check it out if you are interested. So I had it on my phone for a while, and I read like maybe like the first chapter. But the thing is, I really cannot do ebooks. It just doesn't work for me. I need to have a physical book. You know, that's just how I am. So, yeah, I never ended up finishing that, but I like the writing style. So, I want to try out Brave New World very soon, and I'm excited. Next up, we have, I got this a while back, but I thought it was worth sharing anyways. This one has too many discs to take out, so I'm just not going to do that. This is Twin Peaks, the definitive gold box edition. I've been interested in David Lynch for quite a while. I've seen Mulholland Drive, but I watched a few episodes of Twin Peaks like on streaming, and then I was like, I kind of want the DVD, and I saw this online and I bought it because it just looked so cool. And also, this is a very good DVD, as I said before, since DVD is like a dying breed. Some of the quality of the discs and the little things are not great, but this set, everything is so good. Yeah, everything's so good. And yeah, I love the weirdness of it, just the coolness of it. Jonathan Ross, the British TV show presenter dude, said, a masterpiece, the scariest, weirdest, funniest, sexiest TV series of all time. Interesting description. But yeah, I love Twin Peaks. We have season 1 and season 2. I would like to see the like reboot that they did pretty recently as well. Once I finish this, as you can see, I have this note here saying that I am at episode 12 at 23:47. Was that 9? I think that's at 23 minutes 49 seconds. So I know. I don't know why I stopped in. I think I had to do something else. So I usually wouldn't stop in the middle of an episode, but I think I had to do something else. So I did. Yeah. Love Twin Peaks. So fun. So cool. So weird. Love it. Love it. Love it. And finally, last but not least, certainly not least, we have Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. I also got this a while ago. I was talking to one of my buddies from work. We're having a video call, like just a catch up of like all our little group of friends. And I saw in the background he had a book on. He had like a something guide to Stoicism, right? And I was like, dude, I've always wanted to get Letters from a Stoic, because I always say, like, as a joke, I have like half a philosophy degree, the easiest half, because I did 2 first-year courses and a second-year course. So usually at the university I went to for like a philosophy degree, it's 3 years. So I did like the easiest half of that, which is all of first year and half of second year. But anyways, so I'm interested in philosophy, but I'm a fan of practical philosophy, so things that can actually help you improve your life, or how you live. Not necessarily, I don't like metaphysics or that kind of thing. And Stoicism, obviously very practical, but how to approach your life and improve your life. And it helped me a lot in university, because there were times when I was just not feeling very good about myself. Nothing too bad, but Stoicism, the little research that I did on it, like through YouTube videos and stuff, helped me sort of change my approach and sort of turn myself around. And I've always wanted to get some of the like original works that I'd heard of in all my little bits of research. And so mainly that being the Letters from a Stoic by Seneca, and Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I was a little more interested in this than Meditations, so I got it. It's a wonderful hardcover, simple. The pattern is fun, but it's still very simple cover, nothing too much. But yeah, they're just a collection of letters that Seneca the Younger wrote to, his friends and people, giving them advice, obviously, because advice to do with Stoicism and leading the life of a Stoic. Yeah, it's very fun. I read it every now and then. Yeah, a wonderful piece of literature. And I think, friends, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time it is when you're watching this. And I will see you in the next